Hi everyone. Okay, so this video is a response to a specific question, and for their own confidentiality and everything, I will not share their name, but you know who you are. If you're not somebody who's asked me a specific question about when you're going to get married, then you should switch off right now because this is not for you. Okay, unless you want to just, listen to what I ramble about chart analysis. And when I say chart, I mean this kind of a chart, okay? Astrology chart. Okay, so the initial question was career related, and I kind of spoke about what I saw in the chart. Now, the next question was, can you tell me when I will get married? Well, that so the initial question about what kind of career is good for me, that is sort of that's it's easier to see what your natural inclinations are, or I mean, I wouldn't say easy to see, but it's easier to see what somebody's natural inclinations are, their karmas are, their what's holding them back, or what they need to learn from this lifetime. That bit is a little bit easier. A timing question like when will this happen on a job is also a little bit easier because you can you can kind of almost say, hey, if you do this and this and this at these times, because these are sort of your roadblocks, and so if you do this, then you can reap the fruit of that, right? So those things are easy. When it comes to something like a marriage or relationship, that is such a multifaceted sort of a question, especially in this person's chart, because there are so many. Well, first of all, in any person's chart, that's a thing that you have another variable, right? The person you want to marry. If you say, hey, when will I get married, or when will I find somebody to marry? I can say, well, go out right now, somebody on the street, and just pick him up and marry him. But that's a recipe for a disaster, because then your next question will be, holy shit, when am I going to get divorced, right? Or this is not working out, what the hell? So uh, so it's a heavy question. Also, there are inclinations of this particular person's in this particular person's chart, to go overseas. And so then the question arises, is that where they'll find the one? I don't know. You know, so I will make this reading, if you want to call it. I will make it very. I'll try to be as constructive as I possibly can, and tell you what you can do for yourself. Because, and when I say I try to make it constructive, I don't mean like there's nothing like negative in the chart, or like, oh, there's all these monsters, so I have to couch it and make it constructive or whatever. I don't mean it like constructive criticism. I mean like constructive, because you're in a marriage question, you're dealing with another variable, and the other variable is your partner, of course. So that's something that I don't know. I've not seen. I don't know the person's chart. I don't know if you already know somebody, if you have somebody in your life, or if you like somebody or whatever. I don't know those things, right? That so, in that sense, one half of that whole equation is missing. However, what I can tell you from your perspective, constructively, as in what I can tell you for yourself to increase your own chances of A, getting married, B, of ensuring that that marriage is a successful and a happy marriage from your perspective, right? Not from their perspective, from your perspective. That's what I will talk about when I say constructive. Okay, so just really like looking at the position of where Venus is in this person's chart. It's near the sun. I don't know if this person has a bit of is sort of like daddy's princess kind of thing, or not daddy's princess, but like um, there's a there's a there's a level of care, comfort. Well, and I say comfort, I mean material comfort. That this person has and needs in order to feel good in their life. If that is missing or absent, they're not going to be happy. So it's important that this person, make sure that whatever partner they pick is somebody who is generous and capable. And when I say that, I mean, because you can have a guy who's like very generous, who's like up to his eyeballs in debt, right? Or you can have a guy who's like, who earns a shit ton of money, but he's so bloody emotionally stingy that, that it's like getting a drop, like what is that, blood from a rock or whatever is that saying. It's like that. So so you don't want to have that sort of a marriage either, right? You want to have somebody in your life who is capable, and at the same time who has a very generous spirit, and who's willing to share that generosity with you. And if that is not the case, then you will want to preserve your independence and your earning power and all of that, because it's just you need that to feel good. That's what I see in your chart. Now, I still haven't gotten to the when part yet, because this is what is a little bit tricky, weird, and complicated. So when you look at somebody's so like, okay, I'll get a little personal here. If you look at my chart, I have what you would traditionally call like a really crap Venus, but but no, she's not a crap Venus. I'm very fortunate, knock on wood, and like I have a retrograde Venus in Aries. It is situated along with my South Node, Ketu, and my Chiron wounded healer in an Atmakarka position, which is like the highest degree in your horoscope. It's like the thing that, like, you suck about for yourself, but you're really good at doing for other people. That's the position of the planet. Okay, so this is like this is like the sort of position that a person who has a shit marriage but they can be a great marriage counselor. That type of a position is what I have. Well, also, if you look at my chart and where my Saturn is, you would say that I'll get married very late. So you'll say, one, that I will have many marriages and failed relationships, and that I will get married late. But if you look at the external facts of my life, I got married when I was 23. I got married at 23, and I have been married for, God, how many years now I've been married? I got married in the year 2000, so almost 22 years now. So this fact question of like when, right? However, if you understand the nuances of my marriage, about the evolutions, about the journeys, about the transformations, all that, right? The many marriages, yeah, we've been married once in India, once in the States, and once again, like at a renewal ceremony when at the 10-year mark. But and then we've also had other agreements and such, which if you put that specific date into the chart, you would say, oh wait, that was the marriage date actually, and that would fulfill that late marriage thing, right? So that's why I'm saying, like, it depends, and also depends because of the partner, right? The type of husband I have is it also makes the chart I have manifest in a very different way than what you would just see from the plain facts of my chart. So that's why I'm saying that as an example, the when question. Now, that being said, and I should probably put a minute marker on this part because, at minute 11 or so, I will tell you the wins of your, when you would meet people that you potentially care about or that might be significant to you. Because what I've observed is that anytime Venus starts to go up in the 7th house and does a pass through of that, that's when things start to happen. And here's the interesting thing. You're actually coming upon something quite significant shortly. In fact, it's on September that this year, okay? This now, like September the 23rd, 24th, Friday, September the 20. Wow, okay. So there's like this big, the sort of degree angle also is what you should consider, because there's something big, September 23rd, Friday, something big, but it's what you call in the tarot world, and I know nothing about tarot cards, but they call it like a tower card. It's like a bad, horrible crash ending, something, like things that don't look great, right? So it's at that degree. It's a 22-degree point. But then instantly, on Saturday, September 24th, it moves into that 7th house. And what I've observed is whenever that happens, that goes over that house, is when, love blossoms, let's just say. You have significant romantic unfoldments that happen at that time. Now, what's interesting in your chart is that you also, and that thing abides, okay? It abides, it goes back and forth. It's like, like parents involved or other side's parents, like, so it's a thing, right? There's something where, oh shit, this may not work, this may not go so well, like in late October-ish, and then all this is going on, and so all this is going on until let's see, when I'm going, and then when if you think I'm tapping on the phone, what I'm doing is I'm going day by day to see what is happening with this, with this chart, like when is it moving. So this just keeps going and going and going. Let's see, when are we? So this just keeps. Then let's see, and then it. Where does it come around? Yeah, so like there's something that is happening, sort of. From the 23rd, 24th of September until the 5th or so of Feb, all the way into like March or so of next year. But here's the thing, like how this can manifest for you can take different forms, right? So because remember, I also told you about this like once in a lifetime transit you're going through right now with Neptune and Mars, where this thing, like where it comes into like culmination and sweetness, like in Feb of this next year, Jan, Feb, to like culminating in March into like something in the first house, which is like the house of how you present yourself, which is, you could interpret that as like from pre-married to now I'm married, like it's a change of identity kind of thing. So you could view it that way, which brings a lot of sweetness in with that Neptune, which is kind of dreamy and romantic and everything. But it also brings in that there's like Neptune can be either dreamy, romantic, and fuzzy and foggy and all that. It can also be uncertainty. Holy shit, I don't know what's going to happen. That kind of thing, right? Like say a person who's not good for you, or who's very like who might trick you or something, and or maybe it's just, oh yeah, that first part where it's like, oh, fuzzy and dreamy and romantic, and no wonder I was in a fuzzy phase of my life that time, because that's when like I was all romantic and fuzz on a honeymoon and this that, and now I'm back on the regular planet, like I think I told you 2025 is when, like, career wise, like you'd be okay, now I'm back to doing my work, because like this whole time frame goes into that fuzziness. So it could go either ways, right? Where it's like, on the one hand, you have this romance that has kept you in the fuzzy clouds. On the other hand, it's, and there again, this is where it depends on the person. If you have a person, who's very stable, strong, no vices, kind of the religious spiritual sort. Again, I know over here I'm putting my own biases on you. Like, you may not want somebody who's very moral, spiritual. For me, it's important, but you may not. If say well, you're an atheist, I don't know. You may not. But I'm like putting sort of, say if I was in your situation right now, I would be very particular that if I'm going to marry somebody in that dream fog time, that at least their resume check boxes on their stable items that don't change, like their core, their values, their habits, their education. Because job, you may get fired or not, that doesn't matter, but your education stays with you, your learning stays with you, right? You may be a millionaire tomorrow, billionaire tomorrow, a pauper, or whatever. But if you have like good fiscal sense, and you're by nature you're of the frugal sort, that remains with you. So that's why I'm saying, like, those core values that you care about, because right now I'm just saying what are mine. If I'm making a decision during a fuzzy, foggy Neptunian thing, I want to make sure that those stable characteristics are there, and then I will allow myself to get foggy and fuzzy, because that's like, yeah, okay, whatever, then you can get like then you can get fuzzy on the rest of it, because then when that bubble pops and it's like, oh shit, now Neptune has passed my things, and now I'm here, and now I have to deal with reality. At least you've not made a massive mistake, right? So yeah. I don't know if that's helpful at all, but I hope it is and was. Another thing that I want to tell you, this is a relatively new technique that I've learned, new to me, but I've seen that it's a quite useful and valuable. It's called the 12th house from Venus technique, okay? And this is the thing that you need to do after you get married. However, I have found that this actually even works in order to attract a person to you, which is very interesting. Because like I just, I ran it on myself, I ran it on my husband, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. This works like even like retroactively. If you like look at it in, like if you reverse engineer also, you're like, holy shit, this actually worked. So it's a very interesting technique, but it's and so I will just tell you from your standpoint. So this is how to have a happy marriage, or how to make yourself more appealing to another person that you want to marry or to partner with. In your case, your three in your three plan, you have three heavenly bodies in your 12th from Venus, and those are Mars, Juno, and Mercury. What this means is, and also these three are in your first house, which means they are sort of part of your personality. So the advice I'm going to give you is a little bit tricky and a little bit touchy, because one side of you could say, what the hell, this is who I am, why should I not be this, right? And that's true, that's fair. The other side of it is, well, what you could do is, I'm not saying don't be these things, but like so Mercury, Mars, and Juno are the three that like if you work on reducing the archetypes of what this means, then other people or like not other people, but like, because these kind of traits can help you in like work or like as an attorney or something, but in a marriage partnership, they will cause problems for you. So Mars is like, warrior, combat tendency, right? I mean, I'm just some of us, we are firebrands. What can I say? So if you have the tendency to be a firebrand, you have to watch that in terms of attracting a partner. Juno is she's supposed to be this archetype of, she was Zeus, Jupiter, or Zeus, I think, Zeus's wife, and her archetype is jealousy. And though, if you hear the story, you're like, she was rightly jealous. Like she would like chase, like, so Zeus would go and like sow his seeds everywhere, and because he's the sun god, he'll like go about doing it with everyone. And then this one, Juno, would get furious and like go all batshit crazy on him, and sometimes she'd like destroy the female also who he was with. Like she turned some woman into a cow or something, and anyways, there's all kinds of interesting stories. So there's this. So the tendency to portray jealousy, or to throw that outward is like, did you do this? That kind of thing. You have to watch that. That's the second thing. So fighting jealousy. And the third thing is talking too much. Now, I feel bad saying this, because I personally have this same, position in mind too. I have Mercury right there before my Venus, which means like, if you want to attract a guy, shut up. And I'm like, what? Shut up? Are you kidding me? No, I have something to say, and and I know that this is a problem. Like, sometimes, like, if I would start saying something, this is early in the marriage, if I would start saying something to my husband, and he'd be like, I'm not one of your sahelis, like, go talk to somebody else. And I'm like, but I don't know anyone here, right? Because I moved from Bombay to the States, and I knew nobody here. So there's a solution. You get your fix, your talking fix, outside with other people, with recording such videos, right? Like, this is a win-win here, right? I'm telling you. But even I'm dispensing some of my Mercury right now, because then when I go home, and because people work from home these days, right, I will keep my mouth shut. I'm not going to say anything to him, right? Because that works well for him, because, well, it works well for us because of the 12th from thing. So that's why it's weird for me to tell you to be quiet when I myself am not. So, but I'm saying this out of love and affection, because I have this same Mercury is also my 12th from this position. Anyway, so there are other ways to fix it, or not fix it, other you don't want to feel like you're in a position where you're suppressing your voice and your opinion and your thoughts and what you have to say, and and any like warrior tendencies you have. No, go take a kickboxing class filled with lots of very handsome guys. Then you go and you talk with them afterwards. You talk, get all the mercury out, and then you're around guys. So how can you be jealous now, right? About something else, or make strong female friendships with strong women with whom, like, you can. If you have any of those feelings about, like, is that going on with him? What's it like? Think people that you can bounce things off of, right? And those ways you can redeem those three: the Mars, the Juno, and the Mercury. So yeah, that's the how to have a happy marriage thing. Yeah, that's about all I have. And this is a 25-minute video, so I should stop. Thank you for listening. Take care. I hope this was helpful. Bye.